product use, develop, and challenge forms and conventions of real media. So when making our final film, we tried to use as many conventions of film noir as possible, so people would easily recognise it as that sort of film and like recognise that genre. But at the same time, we wanted to make it our own sort of thing as much as we could, like make it refreshing and different to what people had to what you usually see. This is a list I have on my blog of all the well, not all, but most of the conventions of film noir. And so the femme fatale, we obviously had one of them who Rosie played. And we tried to include as many of the stereotypical things that you'd associate with a femme fatale in film noir. So, for example, this is just in the pub scene, we had her dressed in red here. You can't actually see it there well because she's got a jacket over it, but that's a red dress underneath, and also she had her nails painted red there. Because red, you often see red on femme fatales in film noir because of the connotations of it, really, because it's love and lust, but at the same time danger or violence, which basically sums up a femme fatale's character. Also, this scene, because we obviously watched a lot of film noirs and neo-noirs before, in Pulp Fiction there's something a little bit similar to this, which is here. This is basically just a bar scene from Pulp Fiction, and where is it? There is the femme fatale, and we just sort of like use this and tried to add bits from this into our one to make our femme fatale more recognisable, or as a femme fatale, or more convincing. And so, as you can see in this bit, she's got a drink and a straw. It's a milkshake with the cherry in it, which is like quite seductive, which is what a femme fatale is meant to be. And here in our one, you can see she's got the straw in our drink. But it was difficult to make either that too similar, because in this one, the conversation is quite light-hearted. They're just sort of chatting, whereas in our one, he's talking about his dad who's just died. So it's the moods of the two things are different. So it's difficult to make. It was difficult to make our femme fatale like really seductive, but there are bits where she like plays with the straw and stuff like that. We actually had a bit of a continuity problem with that, because in one scene she's playing with it, and then we go to a different shot where she's not playing with it, so it doesn't. Yeah, it's, like I said, just a continuity issue, but it's quite difficult to notice. I think we do get away with it just about. The other we used two other conventional characters. If I just go to the list again, we didn't include any police or corrupt police, like I said there, because it's set in school, and most of our characters are just students. They wouldn't have a job like a policeman, so we left that out. But we did have the our main protagonist, who in sort of like film noir from the 40s and 50s is usually a detective or a private detective. But like I just said, because our main protagonist is is just a student, he obviously wouldn't have a job like that. So he does try and find out who kills his dad. So he does detect something, but he's just a normal student. And we also had a villain who was the murderer, who Jake, our main protagonist, is looking for. You can see them both there. This is our villain. This is who killed his dad, and that's what he's basically trying to find out. So they were the conventional characters that we used that you usually see in film noir as well. We also try to include the visual conventions, which is these ones. Low key lighting we did towards right at the end of our film. There's a shot with the femme fatale's dad. Here you go. Just he's just in there, just like sitting down in like a lounge or whatever, and it's all dark and the only light is coming from the TV, which we thought gave a good effect. And then the TV goes the TV goes red, so it's low key, and also because it's red, it suggests danger or violence. So we thought that was really good. So that's how we tried to include low key. The next one, shadows. You always see a lot of shadows on people's faces and stuff like that in film noir. We had a really good shot also on this end bit. Once our characters got up and starts walking off, you can see there the window is basically behind the camera, which has got Venetian blinds on it, which is another convention. And so the light's shining through the window, and it looks really effective there. And there you can see the reflection. You can see the shadow, sorry, of the Venetian blinds on his face. So we thought that looked really good. It was a really obvious convention, but it works really well. So the next one was characters' reflections. So that's like mirrors and stuff. We didn't really include any obvious ones or intentional, I suppose. Which I think looking at we should have done really, because in Brick, in the basement scene, there's like a broken mirror in it. Oh, it's like a mirror spinning, and that looks really effective. So I think we possibly should have maybe at least included one, a reflection of a character or something. Canted angle, we had a canted angle when our main protagonist Jake finds out that it's this man, the villain that's killed his dad. It's when he's on the phone, just there. It's sort of like it's a significant moment in the film, because he's obviously just sort of like worked out it's this guy who's killed his dad, and I suppose it's sort of, because he's obviously in shock, it sort of helps the audience feel his shock, or it makes them feel disorientated, so it just helps them to feel like a bit more like he would feel, I think, in that bit. And deep shots, we had a shot right at the start, in the introduction bit, when they're walking down the corridor. Here you can see it's not really deep, but you can see Jake walking in from the background. I think that's probably the closest we've got to a really deep shot there. I think that works quite nicely though, when you can just see him coming in from the back. So they were the visual conventions. These next ones are sort of like props, just things that you commonly see in it. There's quite a lot of these that we didn't include. For example, guns. There is a murder at the end, but we thought ours is a neo-noir. It's like a modern thing. They're just school students you're not gonna get, they're not gonna have a gun really. We thought it was a bit unrealistic. Alcohol, they, I suppose they would be drinking alcohol. They're sort of 17, 18, but the only time they could have really done that is oh, that's well, the Femme Fatale and Jake could have done that in the pub scene, but like I said, they're sort of 17, 18, so I don't think it matters that they're just drinking Coke or lemonade or whatever it was. There was this end bit here, the end scene, where the villain goes to the kitchen. We sort of struggled to decide whether we should have him drink just like a small glass of whiskey or something. But in the end, we wanted to make it obvious that it was sort of like late at night. He's sort of sleepy. He's very tired, so we just thought milk was more appropriate there, really. Sort of drink out before you go to bed. A glass of whiskey. Although it might look a bit strange that he is drinking milk, because he's meant to be this tough businessman, relentless. Like he's like relentless. He's killed someone. Drinking milk, it doesn't really fit with his character, but at the time we just thought that was the right thing to do, and also it means he can go to the fridge, and we wanted to include this shot here of him in the fridge with the camera in the fridge because we thought that looked really good. So yeah, we didn't really include much alcohol. We didn't have any rain shots because like film noir in the 14s and 50s, you often saw shots of like on the streets really heavy rain, and that sort of showed prophetic fallacy that something bad was going to happen. But well, it would have been difficult shooting outside in the rain because obviously all the equipment would have got wet and stuff, and also I can't remember it raining on any of the days that we did shoot either. So out of these ones, we didn't have any phone booths. We didn't include any cigarette smoking or lighters or anything like that, which is strange because that does seem like a really big convention of film noir and noir. Cause I've seen that in almost all the ones I've seen. Like just this one, earlier on, they're smoking in the bar. You see it a lot when you're watching a film noir and noir. But obviously, we could have had it in ours. We couldn't include it in the bar scene because obviously we were filming in just a normal pub, and it's obviously illegal, so we couldn't have done that. Yeah, so we didn't have any cigarette smoking. Trench coats. We obviously, because we were doing it in modern times, we thought having a trench coat it was what the detectives tend to wear in the film noirs from the 40s and 50s. And so obviously like I said, we didn't actually have a detective, so we didn't include them. We also wanted to keep it along the theme of it. It was modern, and we were trying to make it slightly different from other film noirs, so we didn't include them. Urban settings, so like in a city, we didn't have that. We just filmed it in the town. So so there weren't really any like tall buildings or anything like that in ours. Out of these, the ones that we did include was the Venetian blinds, like I showed earlier, with the shadow on his face. Yeah, well, that scene on the shadow on his face. There's also another one where you can see them really clearly. Here, I think this is actually a really good shot because the Venetian blinds are in the center, and they don't let through a lot of light in this bit, but just like thin little bits, and it also creates a really good shadow. There you can just see half his face. So yeah, we had Venetian blinds. We had the bar, the pub scene. Well, sort of a bar, and we didn't street lamps. We didn't really use that to say like have like a character like standing underneath one, which we sometimes see in film noir. We just we didn't really include a street lamp that made anything significant. Not on this list is voiceovers. I don't know, I must have just forgot to put on the list. But we did include 2 voiceovers, I think. There's one right at the start. That's sort of why it's up there, to make you understand the story a lot better, because that's right at the very start. We haven't got a lot of time to develop it, so there is one at the start.
I found him on the 16th of February. He wasn't moving, just lying there. I didn't know what to do, so I just stood
yeah,
there.
so that's the
Never really saw him much.
so that's the first one, and then there's another one here that he does as he's just walking away to help the audience to understand that he basically just knows who killed his now. Yeah.
Dog tags, the phone number, Scarlett's party, it all adds up. Wait, she must have...
Yeah, so those were the conventions that we followed, and we try to include to make it obvious there is a film noir, because with our one it might not be immediately obvious because of it's not in black and white, it's set in modern times. So we made sure we had them, so it did make it a film noir. There are some that we try to convert. That, like I said, it's in colour, which if you compare that to film noir of the 40s and 50s, they're obviously all in black and white. So that's kind of a convention that we subverted. There is one point in our film that we saw this in LA Confidential. I've got the video for that as well. Here. This is the video in LA Confidential where he's raiding this house to get a criminal, or and basically in the background the guy that he's trying to get is watching like a child's TV program, and there's this music in there that really it contrasts with the atmosphere and what's actually going on in the actual film. If you yeah, that music, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but that is, and it's creates a strange atmosphere. We tried to do something like that in our one. When so we did the same sort of thing. So the femme fatale here is having an argument, and we made it as if, sorry, he's got the radio on or TV on in the background, and it's sort of like a happy song. It's like it's Madonna or something in the background, so it sort of contrasts what's actually going on in the film at the time.
Tell me what I want. Just out of my business and I'll start yours. My business? Trust me, you don't want to know my business.
You'll be able to hear that when you watch the actual film. It's for that because we couldn't just put a song in straight away. It would sound funny, and also it distract you from what the characters are saying, and you'd miss something. So we had to, when we're editing, we first of all made it quieter, and we put an effect on it, which made it sound as if it's coming from something in the background, and that worked really well. I think that's quite good. The other conventions that we tried to subvert is we had the femme fatale at the end being one of the murderers. Well, or not being one of the murderers, but she kills someone, which we thought you don't really see that. Well, we didn't. Our group didn't see it in many. It's right at the very end. Didn't see it in many film noirs that we'd watched. There you can see she's just killed her own dad because he's a murderer. We used young actors, which we thought wasn't too common. There was Brick used young actors. Ours is kind of similar to it because that's set in school, and which is so is ours. So I would say it's not really. I'd say it's more of a convention to use older actors who are like detectives who have got proper jobs. But well, they're young actors and they're playing young people. I should really have said like young characters rather than actors. Yeah, that's sort of one that we tried to subvert. We just wanted it to be more modern and to be different. So we thought that'd be a good way of doing that. Apart from that, I don't think we really tried to subvert much more. So to summarize, I would say that we used as many conventions as we could, so it fitted into the film noir genre and people would recognise it as a film noir film. But we did challenge the conventions in the way that we made it colour, we made it modern, so it's different from what people are used to seeing, really.